Have you ever caught yourself staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., living an entire life inside your head? In the span of just a few minutes, you've become a millionaire, won an argument from 3 years ago, confessed your feelings to your crush, saved your best friend from disaster, and maybe even imagined how people would react if you suddenly disappeared. And the strangest part? While none of it is real, the emotions feel completely real. The excitement, the satisfaction, the anger, the heartbreak. It's almost like your mind has its own private movie studio running 24 hours a day. Maybe it happens when you're lying in bed, maybe during a long shower, maybe while sitting in class pretending to pay attention. Your body stays in one place, but your mind travels everywhere. One moment you're accepting an award in front of thousands of people. The next moment you're replaying an old conversation and finally saying everything you wish you had said. Then suddenly you're imagining a future that hasn't happened yet, or reliving a past you can't change. If this sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. In fact, psychologists and neuroscientists have spent years studying why our brains create these imaginary worlds. And what they've discovered is fascinating. These daydreams aren't meaningless distractions. They often reveal what your mind is trying to process, solve, or emotionally experience. So today, let's uncover 4 powerful psychological reasons why your brain keeps creating scenarios that never happened, and why you might be spending more time in your imagination than you realize. Let's begin. The first reason is something psychologists call the Zeigarnik Effect. Have you ever noticed how your brain refuses to let certain moments go? An embarrassing mistake from years ago, a text message that never got a reply, a crush that never became a relationship, an argument where you thought of the perfect comeback, 6 hours too late. For some reason, these moments keep replaying in your head while hundreds of ordinary memories disappear. That's because your brain dislikes unfinished stories. Researchers found that incomplete experiences tend to stay active in our minds much longer than completed ones. It's as if your brain leaves them open like unfinished tabs on a computer screen. And because reality doesn't always give us closure, the mind starts creating it. You imagine finally saying what you wanted to say. You imagine being understood. You imagine getting the apology you never received. You imagine the ending you wish had happened. Many of the scenarios you create aren't random fantasies at all. They're your brain's attempt to finish a chapter that never properly ended. Now let's talk about something even more surprising. Your brain doesn't just enjoy success. It enjoys imagining success. Think about the last time you pictured yourself becoming famous, rich, respected, or admired. Nothing actually happened, yet somehow it still felt good. Why? Because your brain is capable of releasing dopamine, the chemical associated with motivation and reward, not only when something good happens, but also when you anticipate something good happening. In other words, your mind can reward you for a future that doesn't even exist yet. That's why imagining your dream life can feel so addictive. For a few moments, your brain gets a sample of the happiness it's craving, a preview, a trailer for a movie that hasn't been made. The challenge is that imagination is effortless, reality isn't. Building confidence takes work. Achieving goals takes work. Creating the life you dream about takes work. And sometimes the brain becomes so comfortable with the preview that it forgets to pursue the real thing. That's why a short daydream can easily turn into an hour without you even noticing. The third reason is deeply emotional. Many of the stories we create reveal what we're missing. Think about it. The person who feels lonely often imagines deep friendships and meaningful relationships. The person who has been hurt imagines justice. The person who feels misunderstood imagines someone finally saying, "I get you." Our imagination often acts like an emotional substitute. When reality fails to provide certain experiences, the mind tries to create them internally. That's why the themes in your daydreams are usually very personal. They aren't random. They often point directly toward what your heart wants most. And finally, there's one reason most people never consider. Your imagination is a rehearsal room. Your brain naturally simulates possible futures because it helps you prepare for life. In many ways, your mind is constantly running practice sessions. The problem is that sometimes the rehearsal becomes more comfortable than the performance. Instead of using imagination as preparation, we start using it as a permanent destination. And that's when we begin spending more time living inside our heads than living in the real world. Your mind is trying to process unfinished experiences. Your brain is searching for rewards. Your emotions are seeking what they need. And your imagination is preparing for possibilities. Testing outcomes, predicting reactions, exploring possibilities, trying to protect you from uncertainty. The problem is that sometimes the rehearsal becomes more comfortable than the performance. Instead of using imagination as preparation, we start using it as a permanent destination. And that's when we begin spending more time living inside our heads than living in the real world. So, what does all of this mean? It means those imaginary conversations, dramatic stories, and impossible scenarios aren't proof that you're strange. They're proof that you're human. Your mind is trying to process unfinished experiences. Your brain is searching for rewards. Your emotions are seeking what they need. And your imagination is preparing for possibilities. The goal isn't to stop imagining. The goal is to understand why you're imagining. Because once you understand what's happening beneath the surface, those endless scenarios suddenly start making a lot more sense. Now I'm curious, which of these reasons felt the most relatable to you? Do you daydream about the future, replay the past, or create entirely new worlds inside your head? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and want more fascinating psychology insights, make sure to subscribe and join us for the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.